Yes, the pollen would be hitting the people who are sensitive somewhere along maybe 15th January onwards, maybe somewhere in the first week of February. At that point of time, that we would see. Now, those people who are sensitive to pollens, again, the same kind of pollen is one more kind of an pollution, because we need to be making sure that the children who are sensitive and who have that kind of a problem wear a mask to protect themselves against the pollen exposure. Then, of course, in that case category, we should make sure that we are avoiding indoor plants, especially the flowering plants at home. And then, because those people who are allergic to pollen may also have hypersensitivity to other things. Although we know of pollen, because that's the one thing that we've been told from the childhood. Unless you've been proven to have only that allergies, most of the people have allergies to multiple things, including a house dust mite, including indoor pollutants. So it's important to look at all that paraphernalia, to look at, like, for example, if you have fungal mold, घर के अंदर सीलन है या घर के अंदर पेट्स हैं, for example, so a pollen, pet, dander allergy, a fungus allergy, all those together can aggravate your condition. So when usually people are having multiple allergies, so unless you have only one documented, you should probably assume your child has allergies to multiple things. Which toddlers generally are a manageable lot, because of the fact that they do not want to really rush into a very strenuous or kind of an active sports like football and other things. They're happy playing with certain toys. They're happy playing with parents or in small play dates. So getting them to get inside the room at this time, for example, when the pollution levels are high, or at the time when you probably have a higher amount of pollutant, you probably can just coax them into a lesser activity which is not as strenuous and doesn't cause as increase in the respiratory rate. On the other hand, you should model a behavior. So it is not, when we were kids, we were in COVID. At that point of time, we saw when everybody was wearing a mask, the children also started wearing, so it was not unusual for people to see children wearing masks, even smaller children. But now that we think बच्चे को पहनना चाहिए क्योंकि उसको एलर्जी है, एंड वी डू नॉट वांट टू मॉडल दैट बिहेवियर, तो वो हमको देखेगा कि ये अगर पेरेंट्स नहीं कर रहे, बच्चे, डॉक्टर नहीं कर रहे या फैमिली नहीं कर रही, तो फिर वो कह रहे हैं कि व्हाई मी अलोन. सो ही जनरली टॉडलर्स आर रिबेलियस बाय नेचर. So they would not really want to do, but if they see, and we, as I said, during COVID, smaller children were all wearing masks. At least it was difficult, I understand completely, but there's no single trick that you can say, okay, you do this and they will start doing it. Okay. Now, if you talk about the prevention of asthma, unfortunately, there is nothing much that you can do right now in if you're truly speaking of a prevention. Now, only thing which is known to prevent asthma is promotion of a breastfeeding. So if your child is having had breastfeeding completely and exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of your life, compared to the children who are on mixed feeding or on formula feeding, that is the only single prevention that we know, okay, this is works. Apart from that, it's a genetic disorder or a multimodal disorder. So I have a genetic susceptibility, और उसके ऊपर कोई इवेंट हो जाता है, जैसे मेरे को बार बार इन्फेक्शंस होते हैं, तो उस केस में एस्थमा ट्रिगर हो जाता है. सो अगेन, फॉर यू कैन रिड्यूस द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ एस्थमा, but you cannot really prevent it from happening altogether, because that is a problem which the world is not able to follow. And abhi is time, maybe the problem is that 15% of the population, 10 to 15% of population in children across the world, and it is not only related to only India, but even Australia, USA, they're struggling with this allergy pandemic or allergic epidemic, which is engulfing across the world. In fact, in Australia, 40% of people have sensitivity. Not that they have allergy, but sensitivity. They can develop allergy at any point in time, out of which 15% have a full-blown allergy. So हमारे यहाँ पे तो ये ट्री नट एलर्जी, पीनट एलर्जी, ये सब चीज़ें होती ही नहीं थी पहले, अब हमारे यहाँ पे भी होने लगी है। एंड पार्टली बिकॉज वी बिलीव, शायद क्योंकि हमारा हाइजीन लेवल्स बढ़ गया है, एंड बिकॉज हाइजीन लेवल बढ़ने की वजह से the immune system is now skewed to understand that, I don't have to fight infections, so it starts fighting self. And that is what is known as hygiene hypothesis, and has been postulated as one of the reasons for increase in epidemic of allergies across the world. But prevention के लिए अगर आपको एस्थमा है, तो ट्रिगर जो बार बार हो रहा है उसको प्रिवेंट किया जा सकता है बाय लुकिंग एट, लाइक परफ्यूम, अगरबत्ती, धूप, गुड नाइट मैट, ऑल आउट, ये चीज़ों से आप थोड़ा सा दूर रखेंगे। जब घर के अंदर है तो झाड़ू नहीं मारेंगे, मतलब यू कैन कीप यूज अ वैक्यूम क्लीनर सो दैट यू डू नॉट जनरेट एन हाउस डस्ट माइट। देन जो घर के अंदर कहीं सीलन है तो वो हटा देंगे। इफ़ यू कैन लिव विदाउट अ पेट, if especially if your child has an allergy, please do that, because that will make sure that you are less likely to get dander allergy in addition. And अगर आपके पास pigeons वगैरह balcony में होते हैं तो you can avoid going to the pigeon areas as well, because pigeon droppings are known to cause respiratory ailments and such. And stop blaming food for it. So I always get people कि इसको खांसी नहीं थी, अस्थमा बढ़ गया क्योंकि इसने आइसक्रीम खाई, ये इसने खाई. So although it may contribute, but it is only 2% of the whole problem. 98% are related to aeroallergens कि जो हमारे respiratory tract में जाते हैं. So we need to find out, if the child is having a problem, what are the other things that I need to address. So asthma is a disease which causes either breathlessness, like, or it causes cough. So there are two variants. So but what we see in Bollywood movies is only one type, which is कि सांस नहीं आ रहा है, like, which doesn't happen to most, and less than 1% have that kind of a severe asthma. So अगर आपका बच्चा लगातार खांसी करता जा रहा है, like, and the child is well, like, so you could probably have an unwell child, for example a pneumonia or a chronic lung disease or chronic heart disease, ऐसे लोगों को भी खांसी हो सकती है, but otherwise is fine, like everything's fine, but खांसी होती रहती है, और especially रात के टाइम में ज़्यादा होती है, the cough which worsens in the night, or your child starts playing और फिर उस टाइम पे खांसी शुरू हो जाती है, भागते भागते खांसी शुरू हो जाती है, तो these are the also milder symptoms of asthma. So if your child is well and has a cough which is persisting more than 3 to 4 weeks on a continuous basis, and has had a previous history of an allergy, like whether skin or nose, or you have a family history of asthma, allergy, or bronchitis, please discuss with with your doctor whether this could be potential asthma or not before you rule out other conditions. Of course, sometimes they have an allergy rhinitis which can cause a chronic cough. You may have a GERD or acid reflux which can cause like a persistent cough in the night. But these are the ways you probably can think whether maybe yes, my child has a problem. So asthma, like there's been a lot of debates. Jaggery is one stop short of sugar. So the next process of jaggery will, like processing, gets into a white sugar. Now jaggery has been hyped, and I've seen people sending me Instagram reels also that jaggery is going to be effective. Nimbu khalo. There is no data to suggest that this works, and trust me, if it was such a simple thing, the government or the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the WHO, would have come up with these guidelines. It did not needed an Instagram hero to put it on the net. Okay, this is like jaggery खा लोगे तो इससे ये ठीक हो जाएगा. We Indians are good at finding solutions to everything, even if it does not exist. जैसे डेंगू के टाइम में हम देखते हैं कि लोग ना गोट मिल्क पे इतना एम्फोसिस देते हैं, पपाया लीफ पे ऐसे देते हैं, एंड इफ पपाया लीफ वाज द सॉल्यूशन टू दिस प्रॉब्लम, व्हाई वुड द वर्ल्ड बी स्ट्रगलिंग विद इट? Then it is available. People would have become billionaires by growing goat milk and papaya milk. Similarly, पोल्यूशन का सोल्यूशन है कि पोल्यूशन के लिए हमें कुछ करना है, वो इसमें से एक कंट्रीब्यूशन हमारा छोटा छोटा होगा, एक सोसाइटी का होगा और एक नेशन का होगा। तो सबका कंट्रीब्यूशन उस चीज को लेके आगे बढ़ेगा। बट ये जैगरी, जायफल, थिंग्स लाइक आप हल्दी खा लेंगे, तो दीज आर गुड एज लाइक जेनेरिक थिंग्स, but they are not good from a point of view of prevention anything against pollution। and jaggery तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं, because again चीनी है, कोई इसमें कोई भी like it has no health benefit, and it is as bad as a chini in a different form।
Interesting.
Okay, so that's like, so again, then that I'm sure like most of the schools are intelligent, and they follow the guidelines to make sure that your children are protected inside the rooms. And most of the good schools nowadays have air purifiers installed in there, and most of the schools are not holding assemblies outside. They're not like even going out and playing outside, and these are the things they're anyway following. I mean, I do not think that you need to see do differently, but if you can coax your child to wear a mask, like when he's like playing, when he's going out, when he's roaming around, I mean, that is an additional layer of protection that you are going to give apart from the school, and those kind of pollution related protections remain similar for every institution, whether it is school, office, or like playground. I mean, the same thing. There is no third thing which has been devised against air pollution right now. तो एस्थमा अटैक, लाइक, तो एस्थमा इज ए क्रॉनिक डिजीज, लाइक वो हर टाइम रहती है। तो जैसे आपको खांसी है, तो आपको लाइक ये ना लाइक ये तो इफ आई कैन शो यू, लाइक अस्थमा इज लाइक एन आइसबर्ग। तो जो सिम्टम्स हमें दिखते हैं ना, लाइक दैट इज जस्ट द टिप ऑफ द आइसबर्ग। जो प्रॉब्लम होती है कि उसके नीचे जो होती है, जो एयर्स होती है, एयर फ्लो ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन होता है, द लंग्स आर हाइपर रिस्पॉन्सिव, द एयरवे इन्फ्लेमेशन इज गोइंग ऑन। सो समटाइम्स दिस इन्फ्लेमेशन बिकम्स वेरी, somebody started writing again, लाइक तो ये उसी टाइम पे कई बार इतना ज्यादा हो जाता है जिसकी वजह से म्यूकस ब्लॉक हो जाता है। द सिम्टम्स बिकम वेरी सिवियर डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द डेप्थ ऑफ द आइसबर्ग or the depth of the problem, airway obstruction or the inflammation। So they start breathing heavily, और उसकी वजह से एयर ना अंदर आ पाती है ना बाहर जा पाती है, and you get shortness of breath। So those who have a very severe asthma, they start breathing so fast, but the air actually is not reaching the periphery of the lung because of the obstruction or the airway constriction. So as a result, they become dyspneic, they become breathless, their oxygen level drops, and depending upon the inflammation levels, the severity varies. So some people may only get some oxygen, maybe a steroid, and get better, but some of them may actually then need to go and get admitted in the hospital. Maybe some of them may need more intense kind of treatments required to treat the problem। हाँ, इसी देखो, अल्टीमेटली यू प्रॉब्ली वुड नीड टू सी के रेकरेंट कफ एंड कोल्ड जो अगर आपके बच्चे को हो रहा है, सो दिस लाइक अगर 9 years का हो रहा है, तो मे बी देर इज एन अंडरलाइंग एलर्जी। क्योंकि अगर 2 या 3 या 4 साल के बच्चे में रेकरेंट कफ एंड कोल्ड होता है, वो तो अंडरस्टैंडेबल है कि उसने कभी उसको कभी इन्फेक्शन हुए नहीं है, अब वो स्कूल जाना शुरू किया है, तो बिकॉज ही गेट्स इन टच विद अदर चिल्ड्रन, so he'll probably have this kind of an infection again and again। But again, 9 years का child is still having recurrent, and I hope recurrent you means like it is every 2 weeks, it is not every 2 months। 2 months में तो इस पोल्यूशन में किसी को भी हो जाएगा, बट अगर हर 1 या 2 हफ्ते के बाद हो रहा है, so there may be an underlying allergy that you need to address and maybe discuss with the pediatrician or any ENT fellow to decide whether we need to treat it। बट जो आपने दूसरा बोला कि पसीना आता है, वो पसीना इनवेरिबली रिफ्लेक्ट करता है कि आपके बच्चे का मेटाबॉलिक रेट ज़्यादा है, आपने उसको सर्दी की वजह से ज़्यादा कपड़े पहना रखे हैं इन द फॉल्स होप कि अगर उसको मैं ज़्यादा स्वेटर पहनाऊंगी तो उससे उसको ठंड नहीं लगेगी और उसको खांसी नहीं होगी। दैट्स हाउ व्हाट वी बिलीव। So many times they sweat more, they get more sick rather than, so it is important to play, dress light, dress appropriate, but do not think that overdressing can protect your child from cold and cough. It's a viral infection or an allergy. तो या तो आपको उसको वायरस से बचाना है या एलर्जन से बचाना है, तो अब कोल्ड एंड कॉफ नहीं होगा। बट ये स्वेटर पहनने से किसी का नहीं होगा। अगर ये चीज होता है तो आई मीन सर्दी हमेशा रहता है तो फिर पीपल इन लद्दाख, all children would have been perpetually like coughing, but that doesn't happen. तो लाइक अगेन सी मास्क जो होता है ना, एज आई टोल्ड यू, लाइक यू नीड टू लुक एट अ क्वालिटी ऑफ दिस थिंग, साइज कुड वेरी, बट आपको N95 या N99, विच मीन्स लाइक 95% N95 का मतलब है कि 95% ऑफ द पार्टिकल्स कैन बी टेकन ऑफ बाय दिस काइंड ऑफ मास्क। सो मास्क में कपड़े की वैल्यू इतनी नहीं होती जितना, आई जस्ट शो यू लाइक इस फिल्टर की होती है। ये फिल्टर जैसे आप ये देखोगे, ये इस पे लिखा हुआ है N99, so it can protect against 99% of the this thing. So if I breathe through this is the same thing which is an air purifier does. हवा यहाँ से आती है और जब मैं यहाँ से लेता हूँ तो वो लाइक, so if your child has wearing any mask is not good enough. You need to wear a mask which has a filter at least, which protects you against some kind of a which has at least 95 or 99% protection. एंड देन साइज वेरी करता है, और साइज के साथ एक मतलब नोज क्लिप होता है जो नोज को बिल्कुल साथ रखता है, एंड देन इट, so it should cover so that you're not breathing from the side of the mask or from the top of the mask where it is likely to be ineffective at other place. Again, this is, that's what I'm saying. You need to probably look beyond food as a cause of it. Yes, if you think that if the solution is, or if the problem is only the chocolates, like, and the sweets, please don't offer them, because then you have a solution ready made for you. But there is not cold and cough because of immunity or infection. These are two different things. If you have a child who's like having a, cold and cough which is more persistent, then you're dealing with an allergy, then you probably need to decide whether you want to go to a ENT or a pediatrician to decide whether there's an allergy that I need to address. On the other hand, if you have a child who probably has uh, बिकॉज यू स्टार्ट गोइंग टू डे केयर वेरी अर्ली, जैसे कई बच्चे 2 साल में चले जाते हैं, 1.5 साल में चले जाते हैं, उन बच्चों में थोड़ा सा कफ एंड कोल्ड ज़्यादा रहता है। बट प्रोटेक्शन अगर आपको देखना है कि इम्यूनिटी के लिए कोई ऐसी दवाई नहीं बनी होती, अगर होती तो एवरी मदर वुड हैव लाइक टोल्ड अ डॉटर एट द टाइम ऑफ मैरिज कि ये ले जाओ और जब आपका बच्चा होगा तो वो खिला देना। बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली देयर इज नन, लाइक इफ देयर वाज एवरीबॉडी वुड हैव बीन ईटिंग इट, ओके। एंड द ओनली सॉल्यूशन इज दैट द immunity you get it not at the pharmacy shop, but immunity you get at a vegetable and a fruit shop. So if you eat red color fruit and vegetable, yellow color fruit and vegetables, and green color fruit and vegetables on 2 days each of, मतलब ये 3 है तो हर 2 दिन एक एक रेड, 2 दिन ग्रीन, 2 दिन येलो खा लेंगे फ्रूट एंड वेजिटेबल्स, एंड antioxidants or a blue on Sunday, then you are likely to have a balance of all the nutrients required for your protection. And 50% of your diet should be fruit and vegetables. So अगर आपका बच्चा सिर्फ पराठा खा के जाता है, so we are responsible for not the lack of immunity. और वो किसी भी, मतलब man cannot be as smart as God. So अगर गॉड के एप्पल से वो नहीं बच सकता तो आदमी की दवाई से नहीं वो इम्यूनिटी अचीव हो सकती है। So you need to go back to your roots, go back to your nature, and find a solution in having more raw fruits and vegetables as the source of protection. Again, as I said, diet, anything, unless you are proven allergic to a particular thing. Say some people may have an allergy to cow's milk, for example, and they drink milk and their asthma would get triggered. Now, in those scenarios, dietary restrictions are good. But in other than that, we do not generally advocate dietary restrictions unless you have a proven allergy to something which is causing or triggering the asthma attack. Now, the protection for asthma or a non-asthmatic children is same. You need to wear a mask. You need to basically reduce the allergens going into your body. So whether it is like, you say if I have a dog dander, I'll get it from there. I have like I would just discuss that if you have a indoor flowering plants, तो उसके पोलन से मुझे हो सकता है, वो पोलन सीजन में होगा इस टाइम पे. If I have like an air pollution, I stay indoors. I do not do exercise too much. I make sure that I use an air purifier in my room all the time, or most of the times wherever it is possible. I would probably make sure that I'm taking a diet which is a lot of water, and taking an antioxidants to reduce the inflammation, which is again comes from fruit and vegetables. So once you've done that, like of course we know, one of the problems, as I said, even in AQI of 100 to 150 is like likely to trigger more problem in those who have an allergy or an asthma. So when it comes to like so PM 2.5 or PM 10, these are just not like these are the particle sizes, like 2.5 micron or 10 microns. So जो पार्टिकल जो होता है 2.5 से कम होता है, वो लंग्स के अंदर एयर के साथ जाता है और एयर के साथ ही वापस आ जाता है. Like so it does not deposit inside the like lung. On the other hand, if you see, okay, there is a child who's probably, who's breathing 2.5, 2.10, PM2, sorry, 10. So 10 माइक्रोन से जो बड़े होते हैं वो नाक के अंदर ही फंस जाते हैं, तो वो रेस्पिरेटरी ट्रैक में जाते ही नहीं है. इसीलिए वी ओनली टॉक अबाउट टू कैटेगरीज विच इज 2.5 and 10. I mean, there could be 5 also, and there is 4 also. So, but we are talking about these two because we measure these two elements. Now the fact that we need to look at जो जो हमारा जो environmental health होता है, उसमें हमारे जो टॉक्सिन्स के जो जो होते हैं उसमें बहुत सारे होते हैं, जिसके अंदर हमारे नाइट्रिक ऑक्साइड होता है. हम तो PM 2.5 एक पार्टिकल की बात करते हैं, बट जो हमारा पोल्यूशन होता है उसके अंदर हमारा सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड भी होता है, नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड भी होता है, एंड उसके अंदर हमारा लाइक ओजोन भी होता है, which is like responsible for causing. So there are 5 different sources of pollution that we generally like come from, and जिसके अंदर जैसे I said, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, greenhouse gases, ground level ozone, these all contribute to the variety of pollutants. और हर एक के लिए अलग. So say for example, when जो कई ऐसे एयर प्योरीफायर्स होते हैं जो आयनाइजिंग रेडिएशन प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. Now they also are pollutants to some extent because they मतलब वो ओजोन लेवल डिप्लीट कर दे इंक्रीज कर देते हैं. एंड ओजोन इज एन इन्फ्लेमेटरी मार्कर और इन्फ्लेमेशन, बिकॉज वी आर गुड टू inhale oxygen, but we are not good to inhale ozone as such. If so, there is like, I'll only answer this thing. There have been multiple Olympians who have won medals and have had an asthma. Okay, so asthma is not a reason for you to stop like kind of physical exercise. So asthma children may need some kind of an inhalers, and if you are on the inhalers and you're keeping your inflammation under control, some of them can have their exercise routine could be as similar as anyone else. Like, so if your child is not being able to do an exercise because of asthma, which means that he needs medicine or he needs something additional in addition to help him. But unless you do that, you will probably end up like restricting his activity in the hope that I do not want to use a medicine. And today's course, inhalers, I understand this could be a taboo in many minds, but it is something which is very, very, very safe nowadays. Like, and world over, the first thing that most people would do is like put an inhaler and get the child who has an asthma and has a persistent asthma to feel better. But when it is like coming to conditions like this, when you have an air pollution, at that point of time, these children who have an asthma would get more sicker than those who do not have. And it is important that asthma children get a flu vaccine every year. And whenever there is a very high spike of, they change or lower down or tone down their exercise. So, I buy it. This one is OxyClear, but as I said, like, it is important that you probably need to look at what is the filter. So all animals are not together. All fruits are not having the same kind of nutrition, and all masks do not have the same protection. So it's important. You just need to see in any authorized, product, N95, N99, certified. Yes, then you buy it and do it. So again, like as I showed you in that picture in the last, that there is an airway inflammation. Okay, so if you do not have inflammation is there, and if you do not treat that inflammation, and the channel, say for example, if I have a cut here, for example, today, I don't heal it. It will heal in a day or two in any case. But if I have a small cut every single day, every single day for the next 2 or 3 years, eventually my whole hand surface will become scarred. Similarly, when I'm breathing air, which is like inside, and it is scarring a little bit, a small attack, I say, okay, I don't want to get like, anywhere. But tomorrow I say, okay, like, every day I'm getting that scar, then eventual lung capacity when I grow up as an adult would be very poor. The balance is between using an inhaled steroids and using having a chronic cough. Now, the data suggests that if you have mild to moderate use of a particular steroids, for example, inhalation, अगर आपका ब्यूडोसनाइड एक केमिकल जो कॉमनली यूज होता है वो 800 से नीचे है, लाइक माइक्रोग्राम पर डे यूसेज से कम है, द रिस्क इज वेरी मिन्यूस्क्यूल, एक्सेप्ट फॉर समटाइम्स ओरल में मुंह में फंगस हो जाता है कई बार बिकॉज ऑफ deposition of powder or another thing. But other than that, major side effects are very minuscule. The side effects of inhaled steroids are only if you are on a high dose. So when you talk to the doctor, talk to whether it is a low, medium, or high dose of inhaled steroids, and it's not an option that you're exercising कि मेरे को डायबिटीज है, मेरे को दवाई नहीं खानी है, मेरे को फिर मेरे को कॉम्प्लिकेशन हो जाएगा. मगर अगर मेरे को लगे, how you need to be intelligent question should be, doctor, how do I minimize the effect of inhaled corticosteroids if I'm using and I'm forced to use because of the condition of the child? uh, Humble suggestion to all of you is that de-link cough and pollution. Okay, so de-link इसलिए क्योंकि कॉफ एंड पोल्यूशन से कॉफ एंड कोल्ड होता है फॉर श्योर, बट हम पोल्यूशन से अगर कॉफ एंड कोल्ड ही होता है ना, तो हम इतनी बार बच्चों को होता है, हम इतने परेशान नहीं होते. बट अगर पोल्यूशन से उनकी लाइफ, उनका ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट, उनका लंग डेवलपमेंट, उनका लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी, उनका इंक्रीज रिस्क ऑफ कैंसर, ये सब चीज़ें जो है, इसलिए हमें पोल्यूशन एड्रेस करना है. इसलिए नहीं कि उससे खांसी, अगर मेरे बच्चे को खांसी नहीं हो रही लाइक और आपके बच्चे को हो रही है, तो इट इज डज नॉट मीन दैट माई चाइल्ड इज प्रोटेक्टेड अगेंस्ट एयर पोल्यूशन और मेरे बच्चे को इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा. हिज लाइफ इज ऑल्सो गेटिंग डिक्रीज बिकॉज ऑफ the same air pollution you are and my child both are facing. Second, I would want to message I want to give is that you would probably say कि pollution, जैसे अभी बात भी हुई बहुत सारे, अगर आपका एस्थमा है, so जब भी बच्चे को खांसी लंबी चलती है, तो ask for a specific diagnosis from your child, because parents like बोलते हैं कि नहीं नहीं नहीं, हमारे घर में किसी को एस्थमा नहीं है, they just do not want to accept that kind of a diagnosis, which leaves health professional with no choice but to say कि okay ठीक है अभी ऐसे कर लेते हैं. So as an intelligent parent, when you go to a any exam, you need to probably just ask what is the diagnosis and why are we treating it this way. So if you get the right information, you probably treat the asthma in the right way. And so there are guidelines available on the net, or even globally, which Heart Lung Institute and other things, which suggest कि आपको इतना ये आस्थमा अगर ऐसा है तो इसको इतना दवाई देना चाहिए, इसको ऐसा है तो ऐसा दवाई देना चाहिए. And asthma action plans, and there are books also written on asthma or allergies where you can treat. So don't treat asthma as any other cough, बिकॉज बाकी कॉफ गले की वजह से होते हैं, ये लंग की वजह से होते हैं, और अगर आप ट्रीट नहीं करोगे और आप इग्नोर करोगे चलो खांसी से, तो आपके लंग ज़्यादा डैमेज होने के चांसेस रहते हैं. थर्ड, ऐसे कि जो 98% एस्थमा होता है वो एलर्जेंस की वजह से होता है, चाहे वो डॉग लाइक एनिमल्स, एनी रेस्पिरेटरी एलर्जेंस. तो जस्ट डू नॉट बिलिटल इट बाय सेइंग कि इसने आइसक्रीम खाई थी ना, इसलिए इसने फ्रिज का पानी पिया था ना, इसलिए इसका खराब हो गया. They may contribute, but they're not the primary reason. So just making, that's where we need to see. So you need to look at into a depth of a disease, find it out, so that you protect those who have, even if there is no air pollution, but those who have an asthma, their lungs need to be protected so that they can live life towards the end of their life on a healthy lungs, not on a diseased lung in the long run. सो इट में भी लोग कि अभी हमने दवाई नहीं दी, बट हमको ये इम्पैक्ट हमारे जाने के बाद हमारे बच्चों में हो रहेगा. Third, the last thing I would suggest that अभी and I put it in the presentation itself कि आपको देखना कि आप अपने बच्चे के लिए don't think from your child. If you do something for your child, it will work for everyone. So you need to do something on a daily basis on your platform and probably share it on this platform or any other platform that today this I have contributed to reduce the air pollution, and make that a moment so that everybody of us starts learning and doing that, so that we make the world better for our children.